Hello and welcome to day 8 of Nottingham Poetry Festival. My name's Georgina Wilding. I'm the creative director of the festival and very proud to be your host this evening. Oh, we've got hashtags already. This is great. You lot are seasoned now. So if you're new to the festival and you're wondering what I'm talking about, let me fill you in. Normally, we would be together in the same room and I would be able to hear you clapping and cheering along, but unfortunately, this is not the time for social gatherings. So instead, I want to know I can hear you, and to do that, I invite you all, as everyone else is doing, to send hashtags to the chat. Put your hashtags together for Nottingham Poetry Festival Day 8, everybody. Yes, Manjit, Kayla, Keith, Danny, Nicola. Oh my God, it's going so quick. This is great. Martin, Lucy. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad you're there. Now, if you haven't been to a poetry gig before, you might not be familiar with this. So let me tell you about it. When you hear a poet reading, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say something that moves you, whether it be, it makes you excited, it makes you impassioned, you feel like you're relating to what's being said, and the instinct might be to want to cheer and be like, yes, that is a bit of me, I know what you're talking about. But of course you can't do that because the poet reading would think that they were being heckled and you might interrupt a very important moment. So instead, what we invite you to do is send an asterisk for a click. So let me see your asterisks in the chat now, the little stars on your keyboards, your little clicks. Yes. Beth, Ben, Lauren, Amy, Sean. Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, yes. So now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. You're part of the crew. If you like a line, but you don't want to interrupt the poet's flow, you can click away. Or in what is now Zoom Nation, you can asterisk away. All right, so let me fill you in on what's to come. We are an evening of 2 parts, as always. We have the support acts for the evening coming up first. So you will be hearing from Manjit, Sahota and Amelia, Daiz. And let me tell you, I've seen what's to come and you're in for a treat. And then after we've had that treat, there's going to be a little break and you can top up your teas, grab a wine, gin, whatever you fancy, and meet us back here for the second half where we will have the wonderful Henry Normal here live. And once Henry's finished dazzling us with his words, there will be a Q&A where you get to put all of your burning questions to him and he'll do his best to answer all of them. The Q&A should be about half an hour long. So while he's reading, if you think of a question, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll pick it up and we'll put it to him. All right, so without further ado, the catchphrase of the host, I am going to introduce you to our very first support act. Manjit Sahota is very dear to our hearts at the festival as he is actually part of our team this year, which has been amazing to see. Manjit is our outreach officer, outreach support, and he's been making sure that we get the festival to lots of people across Nottingham, more than we ever could have without him. And it's been an incredible joy to work with him on delivering the festival this year. Aside from that, Manjit is also the founder of Poets Against Racism and a local Nottingham poet who has performed in a number of venues in Nottingham and around the country since 2016. Oh, I missed a full stop. And around the country. Since 2016, Manjit formed PAR in 2016 to rally poets, spoken word artists to use their poetry to challenge the rise in racism and spread the word of unity, humanity and love. Manjit is quoted saying, "Poetry for me is the memory of our history, struggle and resistance." Please welcome, put your hashtags together for Manjit Sahota, everybody.
Hi, I'm Manjit Sahota. It's great to be part of Nottingham Poetry Festival 2020, online and free to the people. I'd like to share some poems tonight with you. I'll start with the government, the Tories, track and trace, COVID, and the choice between going to the pub or opening the schools. Which one should we choose? Here's my poem. It's called I'm Dying for the Pub. I'm dying to go to the pub. Ah, and there lies the rub. To drink or not to drink, that is the question. Whether it's noisier in the bar for me to suffer the drinks and snacks at outrageous prices, or to sit at arm's length in the lounge amongst a sea of social bubbles, and by joining, end them. Now is the winter of our discontent, missed glorious summer, with no plan for track and trace. Because the last poor Boris, I knew you'd fail. For is this a blagger I see before me? Beware his lies for March. And should I compare thee to the USA? All the world's a plague, and we are mere players. But if you are led by pricks, do not be deceived. And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? Love all, trust Tories none. And if the lazy Johnson does protest too much, off with his head. Thanks. Let's hope we all get out of this lockdown in one piece and we're all safe, because it's a changing and a cruel world out there. I remember a long time ago I met someone from the far right, racist, Nazi. I tried to give him a leaflet to say, look, this is what I stand for. And he said, sorry mate, I can't read because I'm illegitimate. Which made me think. And the Nazis attack bookshops all the time to stop people reading. Next time they come to our bookshops, we'll be armed and we'll be ready with books to take on the far right. Here's a poem dedicated to that Nazi. It's called The Nazis Can't Read Because They're All Illegitimate. The master race popped in while you were out. Next time they're here, I'll give you a shout. All dressed to kill, they stormed in gently, knocking over shelves, books, the nest was plenty. That book on Palestine is anti-Semitic. Yes, you know your history, of course. You're the bloody Nazis who denied the Holocaust. Engels was a pedo, Che Guevara's crap. That's when I knew I had to take a stand. I had to start my attack. But if you want to hit a Nazi with a book, don't use a pamphlet, see? Try Karl Marx's Capital, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Failing that, I've got another solution. Get your hands on Darwin's book, The History of Evolution. And if you see one crawling on the floor, trying to get to the exit, get your hands on my poetry collection, Life After Brexit. Now, if you think this is a fantasy, it's mostly in my head. But I heard it once, something a revolutionary said. Not the pen is mightier than the sword. I'll let you know when that happens. No, Leon Trotsky put it best. Books are bloody weapons. Thanks. The next time the Nazis come to our shops, we'll be ready, armed with our brains, armed with books. I'm a poet and I'm an Indian. I'm an Indian, Asian, English poet. And my Indian, English and Asianness, my heritage, my history is really important to me. And it's really poignant now as we talk about where we're coming from, where we're going. And the empire, the British Empire, has played a massive role in my history. So the role of the empire, that's why I'm here. The British Empire brought us all together. So here's my poem. It's called Empire Calling. How did I get here? Snapping on a poppadom, drinking Cobra beer. Who set this in motion? dragging my father 3,000 miles across the ocean, a head full of dreams he couldn't abandon, ended in the night shift in Wolverhampton. You see, you build your nation on mass immigration, then you blame us for the lack of assimilation? Who set the rules that we were the bait, chased by the skinheads on the housing estate? Where do they hide these voices of reason? An Englishman's home's his castle, to say otherwise is treason. You see, you built your Commonwealth on the backs of the poor, from the East Docks of Blackwall to the West Bengali shore. So don't blame the migrants, the immigrants, those poor refugees. When the empire's calling, we all sail the seas. For 500 years, they tried to divide us, it's true. But we'll stand together because we are the many and they are the few. Thanks. I like going shopping. I can't queue though. I'm British, but genetically I can't queue. I need to get to the express checkout, get my things and go. So I do that, but it doesn't always work. I get stuck in the express checkout with that light flashing and that voice starts. So give me time to think and reflect about the world we're in today. And this is the poem that popped in my head. It's called Unexpected Item in the Bagging Area. Lexit, Brexit, we're all trying to forget it, like the unexpected item in the bagging area. Lonely, poverty, let down by democracy. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. Don't ignore me, listen to my story, knock on my door as I'm going to vote Tory. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. Hated, fated, totally alienated, I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. You call me a statistic? That really takes the biscuit. I used to roar like a lion. Now I need a shoulder to cry on. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. Tortured at school, I became a fool. Testing's not for me. Life's my university. Homeless and balmy, we murdered for the army. Work drove us mad, considering what we had. We're ruled by a bureaucrat. You're not even allowed to chat. We're the unexpected items in the bagging area. My head's a sieve. I need someone to argue with. Don't stand behind your policy. Come over here and talk to me. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. I'll sit in the park, wait till it gets dark. No one will miss me. I've hardly dented history. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. There's a hole in my heart. Love will tear us apart, but I'll give you one more go. But there's something you should know. I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area. Thanks. My time's nearly up. It's been a pleasure sharing poetry. I love you. Leave you with this one. This one is, well, it's a warning. Beware of those who wrap themselves in flags to divide us, separate us, and spread hatred. Nationalism used to spread hate. If I had a flag, this is what my flag would stand for. Thank you. This poem's called My Flag. My flag has no edge or borders. It doesn't make me stand up, salute. It doesn't give me orders. My flag is the colour of a bloodstain. Some lost in battle, some still in vain. My flag is not a football slogan or a reason to learn to hate. My flag is the difference in humanity, something to celebrate. My flag is for my children and for your children too. My flag is for the many, not for the privileged few. My flag is not owned by kings or queens or by the nation state. My flag says break these mental chains. My flag says liberate. My flag has no spread eagle, yellow star or rising sun. My flag's an open heart. There's room for everyone. My flag is not on the side of a bank or on a dollar bill. My flag has never declared war. My flag doesn't know how to kill. My flag is not made of gold or diamonds, nor does it smell of oil. My flag waves in the streets below, in the hands of struggle and toil. My flag is not the history of rulers past. It's the history we've yet to write. My flag is not here to add to the darkness. My flag is here to bring you the light. My flag is my mother's tongue, although not here to see. My flag is not here to keep you out. My flag is here to set you free.
Nottingham Poetry Festival, put your hands and hashtags together for Manjit Sahota. Oh my God, was incredible, Manjit. Well done. What a storyteller. And that is how you speak truth to power, isn't it? I mean, I feel galvanised already. Manjit said, books are bloody weapons. And I absolutely love that as a phrase. He also said, I'm the unexpected item in the bagging area, which I thought was so clever and funny. And then once you digest the reality of it, so arresting. Incredible work, Manjit, honestly. Congratulations from us and from the chat, which is blowing up with hashtags. Thank you very much, everybody. Frank, Martha, Craig, Sharon, Lynn. Oh my God, it's going to be a good night. I can feel it. All right, so next up for the first half, I'm going to talk to you about Amelia Daiz. She is a poet and comedian who has been writing and performing for 4 years. Based in the East Midlands, she's performed at numerous events around Leicester and Nottingham and has performed a poetry walk abroad as part of Collar Festival in Luxembourg. She's performed at Nottingham Poetry Festival for the past 3 years and has been instrumental in organising and hosting the wordplay events held at City Arts as part of the Poetry Festival. Young Producers, of which she is a member, she is a member of Young Producers and has organised and performed at a number of other Nottingham events, including the annual Young Producers Takeover, Nottingham Comedy Festival and Arts Festival, Snenton Stirred Up. She's also a founding member of the Leicester Comedy Society, a group that rehearses and hosts comedy events in Leicester. And let's hope she's got teeth in her mouth tonight, unlike me. Put your hashtags together, everyone, for Amelia Daiz.
Hi, my name's Amelia Daiz. I'm really pleased to be taking part in this year's Nottingham Poetry Festival. But I am feeling a little bit nostalgic for poetry festivals of the past and wishing I could be live with you guys tonight. So here's a poem that I wrote called Ode to Knots. This city gave me the page. This city gave me the stage to share my drunk toilet poetry rage. This city gave me the words to form in my mind and make myself heard. This city gave me the pen to observe and note take again and again. This city gave me the voice. This city gave me the choice to be brave, stand up and say my thoughts. This city gave me time to pause. This city taught me everything's a poem. This city taught me not everything's a good poem. This city made me write, gave me fight, understand plight, see the light, rise to heights. This city taught me rhythm and timing, assonance and rhyming. This city's love will heal its pain, and I can't wait to come back again. So that was just a little poem about Nottingham, because I did a lot of growing up there when I was at uni, and now my job is to teach other kids how to grow up. And they are lively, I think is a good way to describe them, because they're just at that age where everyone is a little bit terrible at that age. Yeah. So this is a poem about that particular age. I look at myself through a Facebook lens, scrolling way back till my timeline begins, a swelling nostalgia as I grow older. Same faces, same places, different haircuts, different crazes. I look back at us when we were just 14, panda eyes, poofed up hair, scene queens, combed over side fringe corsets and jeans, sitting in parks drinking WKD or Glen's vodka and Frosty Jacks, 1.99 Lambrini in a cheap six-pack, 12.5 of Amberleaf and a 10-decker Marlborough, trawling the villages for a shop that'll serve you, sending a friend with the biggest boobs and a friend with a friend's older sister's ID. It sounds mad, but it was part of the fun, you see. Pool your resources, work as a team, networking and communicating, in-depth plans and schemes. Because now, when I walk into a bar or a shop and everything's all legal and allowed, I just don't feel that same kind of proud. And house parties are different. Now they've got DJs that won't change the track. I preferred it when it was Rammstein and Britney back to back, and MCR, Enter Shikari, Blink 182 and Green Day. I still wear the t-shirts, but I pretend it's in the ironic way. And our language has changed. Now people never drop your gay card. We know better than to call people retards. Dead baby jokes and your mama's so fat has all awkwardly been swept under the mat. Have you got skillage, like skills? Huh, skillage is an African bum disease. I mean, please, what the hell was that? Now girls are dogs or meow meows like cats. I don't call girls skets or the village bike. I understand one penis or 50 doesn't make you less tight. And the rule of thumb with hands and dick's eyes. All this playground biology is nothing but lies. Every generation has these stupid times. So when I'm 50, I'm sure I'll be cringing at the stuff I'm doing in my 20s. But it all builds into what makes me me. So don't be mad at the youth when they make these mistakes, because if you're lucky, you'll still have plenty to make. And working at that kind of job, people say, you must have a thick skin to work with that age group. And I feel like I've been pretty well prepared for it by another job that I had as a shop girl in a club. Yeah, one of those. And it also helps that the sort of drunk brain age and conversation skills of the people in those clubs was like roughly the same or lower than the 14-year-olds that I work with now. So pretty well prepared. So this is a poem about the conversations that I had as a shop girl. Hi guys, do you want a Jaeger bomb? Haha, no, I don't come with the tray. Wait, what did you say? No, I can't hear. You'll just have to shout into my ear. I'll just dance away from your probing arm. Breathe, 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 stay calm. Yeah, it's £3 for one? Yeah, three. Free? No, 3. Sorry, I can't, I'm on commission. Why are you putting me in this position? Oh, you think I could do better than this job? What, with my degree? Yeah, well, to be honest, same, mate, but you can blame the Tories. Oh, you want to save me and hook me up with a job in your call centre, working 9 to 5 for the rest of my life? Yeah, I'd rather gamble on myself every weekend, and no, I'm not looking to be anyone's wife. Time for some sober, awkward dancing to fill the floor and so that we don't look like we're bored. But I'm telling you, when I hear the intro to Soldier Boy, I'm telling you, get off the dance floor. As the arms swing from left to right. And watch your shots when people start dropping it like it's hot. And I'm not hating, but really, endless Rihanna, it's the 3rd time tonight. Shit, watch out for the fight. Ooh, girl fight this time. On the sticky floor, crawling and brawling. What's that? How many Jaeger bombs did? Fuck me. More than you can afford, but for a couple of quid and tips, you could be the proud owner of my shot girl number. Personalised fake nonsense just for you, babe. Wow, that's some big talk and an even bigger watch. For a guy arguing over the price of a shot, and does it make you feel like a big man when you tell me to fuck off before I've opened my mouth? I know I've been round to you 3 times already, but you could always change your mind, and this is literally my whole job for the night. Why are you so surprised? Hey, chill out, girl. I'm just trying to sell drinks, not get on your boyfriend's dick. But you'd rather wait in the queue than buy from me. Don't be so jealous. Besides, you could do better than that, creep. No, I can't drink on the job. I know I should get a better job. Thanks for the life advice, but I'm still not changing the price because it's £3 for one. Yeah, 3. Thank God it's nearly 3. And no, you won't be seeing me later. And if you stole one, security would chase you. But these heels are hurting and I'm sick of flirting. A look in my bag looks like I've made a killing. Imagine that I'm on my way to 1 million. But then the bar and the promo all take a cut. And I'm not left with much, but the pennies and the pounds all add up. And sometimes I think I'm done and I need to change. But right now, I'm just counting your change. And so I learned a lot on that job. You know, you learn a lot in every job. And what I mostly learned from that job was, after serving all those, you know, Larry drunk, terrible people, is I much preferred to be on the side of the Larry drunk, terrible people being served the drinks. And so this next poem is called HQ, and it is about a place that I'm sure we all miss very deeply right now. I think, Christ, I'm so British. All this landscape and culture, and I miss the pub. I miss a call on a Friday night from a mate that says, I've had a shit day at work. Meet me at the pub in 10. So I say, of course, grab my stuff, and then we meet at our local. The local is your pub, where you never have to say the name to your friends, where the night begins and ends, where heartbreaks mend. It's where you tend to see old school friends and enemies. But now it's all a distant memory because you're all together drinking at the local, and it really does make you feel local. And then I find out that in France, they call the pub the Quartier General. And when I found out the meaning, I was in love. And apologies for my bad pronunciation, but it's worth it for the translation. It means the headquarters. I laugh and think of spy missions, of synchronized watches, of watching and stalking and watching and waiting, of Mission Impossible and MI5 to track people down, dead or alive, assassins, helicopters and car chases, of coded letters and secret places, of espionage and camouflage. It all sounds a little bit cloak and dagger, and I just want a Coke and vodka. The barman says, single or double. I think double agent 007, shaken not stirred. This is the funniest name for the pub I've ever heard. But then I think, of course it's our headquarters. When we sit down to drink, we report back on our missions of Facebook stalking guys we fancy. We conduct our master plans with schedule and strategy. We decode the texts from our exes. I know if looks could kill, we'd be #1 assassins. And the crawl from the pub to the club is really a mission. And so from now on, when my friend calls me up and says, let's go to the local, I'll correct him, say, I'll meet you at the headquarters. Because this place of bricks and mortar is really so much more. And now you'll agree with me, I'm sure. After all this poetry, I think it's really time I got a drink. Cheers.
Cheers, Amelia. If only I had a glass in my hand. Well done for that hilarious and empowering and emboldening set. I loved the hints of feminisms. No, I don't come with the tray. I was clicking away to you. Brilliant. And the idea of using all of our weird and wonderful jobs as a way to find inspiration for poetry, I think is just so great. And I'm sure people at home can agree. There will be a wealth of stories to pick from. I've definitely had my fair share of weird and wonderful jobs. I think the weirdest job I ever had, let me think, I was 18 and I was a party rep for Ann Summers. And now let me tell you, there are some stories to share from that job. But I won't do it here in case I get in big trouble or fired. It is possible. So instead of me confessing all of my weird jobs, I want you at home to think now back over your careers. Think about all the jobs you'd had, be it bar work or the strange and wonderful places you've worked. And if you like, let us know in the chat. Tell us what weird and wonderful jobs you've had, what's inspired you to write, or what's your best party story. I have a story about, I used to work in a shop in Arnold that still has my heart, called Boys. And we had a particular gentleman that used to come in every weekend and dressed in all sorts of outfits. And he would come to the till, always with the most grumpy member of staff as well, like he could pick her out. And he would tell her that he could play the violin every week, like it was news. And he would get his violin out and it was battery operated. Stand on the shop floor. It was great. It made the weekends go quicker. Where have you worked? Mattress factories, and it was hell. A musician at a Christian, did that say dentist conference? Oh my God. Standing on a London street, literally counting the traffic. Working in Hong Kong. Oh, in a publishing warehouse. Love Boys. Yes, live for Boys. That haberdashery section is unbeatable. A mushroom farm. A daffodil bulb picker. Being the free samples lady at Asda, having to hand out nappy sandals with a question mark. I can feel the pain in that comment. Oh my goodness me, taking the flowers off cucumbers. That is poetic. I love that. An egg factory. Wow. Your husband dressed crabs. Brilliant. Brilliant poetry from Manjit. Yes, indeed. Sports Direct. An ice cream counter. Wow. Not very hygienic. See, you know, there is so much for us to pick from in our lives, in our jobs alone, that I'm sure are rich with stories that we can turn into poems and help us speak truth to power, like Manjit and Amelia have done this evening. So I have some really exciting things to tell you tonight, and I'm going to do my best to keep my teeth in my mouth this time and tell you all of them. So first things first, we have to say thank you to Arts Council England. It's because of them and their continued support we've managed to be able to put this festival on for free. It is the first time we've ever done it, and I'm so proud that they allowed us to run with the idea, because it's meant that despite all of the worries that lockdown is bringing all of us, we can still enjoy poetry and arts and culture. So thank you to Arts Council England. Also, thank you to Metronome for having us here, and Craig and the tech team for supporting us through all of this. It has been a learning curve. Every night there's been something different, but it has been an absolute joy. This is actually, technically, our 5th birthday celebrations. And what makes tonight even more special is we have the founder of Nottingham Poetry Festival with us performing. That's right, Henry Normal. So it's going to be great. Make sure to wish him a happy birthday on behalf of Nottingham and the Poetry Festival. I need to tell you as well that we have a YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe when you can. We're uploading best bits from the festival and videos that we've had produced with interviews of poets. There's great stuff on there, and stuff still to come, some surprises as well, which I can't wait to tell you about, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut and we'll reveal next week, so definitely look there. Also, donations. Now, I know that it's a free festival, and again, I'm so proud that we've been able to do that, but we wondered if we put a donation button out there, people might help us support the artists going forward. So if you can spare £1, £10, £1 million, please send it our way. No, jokes aside, it really helps to just know that there's you know, community helping us put this on, and I'm so glad that you all get to enjoy it, and it'd be great to have a few little contributions here and there as well. So if you can, do. If you can't, don't worry about it. Social media, yes, please follow us on our social medias, Nottingham Poetry Festival, or at Nottingham Poetry Fest on Twitter, because we have a few announcements coming in the next few days of exciting things that I'm not allowed to tell you about yet, but they will be great, I promise. Did you know that you can also apply to be a support act for next year's festival? We never close applications because we always want them to be there for people when they decide, you know what, I'm ready, I think I could be up on this stage. Apply. They're open now. The way that we work is every year when we program our headliners, we look through the whole database of support acts and see whose work fits with the headliner, or whose work clashes in a really interesting way that makes the night all energetic and exciting. So please take the chance, submit the form. It's all on our website. You can find it out now. Another thing to tell you about is on Sunday, we have our final gig, which is just heartbreaking to say, but it's going to be great. On Sunday, you can watch Gobs with the headliner Debris Stevenson, who is very close to my heart and lots of people's hearts in Nottingham, because she started Mouthy Poets. If there are any Mouthy poets watching this, please big up Mouthy in the chat. Mouthy was a collection that started so many careers. So thank you, Deborah Stevenson, Debris, for that. Oh, also I need to tell you about Bridie Squire's debut scratch show, Casino Zero, which is being streamed on the website tomorrow at 21 minutes past 9, which makes it 21, 21, 21. It was planned, yes, it was. It's going to be great. There's still workshops that you can attend that are going on throughout the rest of the weekend, and not only that, but we have the community fringe events going on the website. We're literally just finishing up on the back end now, and I've seen what's to come. Again, it is an exciting lineup. So if you haven't managed to catch the fringe events yet, tomorrow is the day to do it. All right, what else do I have to tell you? I think I've told you everything I can tell you about Nottingham Poetry Festival tonight anyway. So for now, let's have a break. Go fill up your mugs, have a wee, have a cheeky smoke if that's your poison, and I'll meet you back here at 8 o'clock. everyone, and welcome back to the second half. I hope you're all settled and comfortable. I know what it's like when you're watching these Zoom shows and workshops from home. The amount of time in the break I've been in the other room and then suddenly heard the host go, "Hello everyone," and gone, "Ugh," and like legged it back through, not losing my microphone, because normally at home I don't have a mic. Believe it or not, I'm loud enough, next door can hear me without one. So yeah, I hope that you're all settled, and if you've heard me, you're running to the laptop as we speak. This is the bit you've all been waiting for. It's exciting, isn't it? We've got Henry Normal. I cannot wait for you to see what's to come. We had our tech one earlier, and let me tell you, in fact, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to let you see for yourselves. So let me read Henry's bio. Nottingham Poetry Festival co-founder and critically acclaimed TV and film BAFTA-award-winning writer and producer Henry Normal has returned to his first love of poetry with a new live tour, poetry book and Radio 4 show. He does not stop. Henry's poetry renaissance is inspired by his experiences bringing up his autistic son, Johnny. The result is a funny and moving collection of work, both on the page and stage, about life and family. His brand new live show, The Escape Plan, is touring in theatres around the country and draws on over 40 years of work, featuring stories, jokes, lots of jokes, and poems from his successful BBC Radio 4 series and his 7 poetry collections. His latest poetry book of the same name is his 8th published collection and is released on the 16th of March. A selective works in hardback. This latest volume features over 250 of his favourite and most popular poems. And you're about to see why. Put your hashtags together, everybody, for Henry Normal. Woo!
Hey up, I'm just unmuting myself. Hello, thank you very much. Hey, thanks, Georgie. That was great. Thanks for a lovely introduction. And welcome everybody to my home. And thank you for inviting me into your home, which is lovely. I'm going to put my timer on first, so I'm going to do 40 minutes because I don't want to overrun, and I've got apple pie later, so that's cooking. There we go. I don't take any notice of this clock behind. That's been 1:30 since March. So I've got a few more thank yous just to start off. Thanks to Manjit and to Amelia for their sharing their poems earlier. That was great. And thanks to all the Nottingham Poetry Festival team who have been fantastic throughout the festival. It's our 5th year. And I'm very proud to have been involved and to be co-founder with Craig Chettle. So I'd like to give a big thank you to Craig Chettle, without whom this entire festival wouldn't be possible, it wouldn't exist, and it wouldn't have lasted 5 years. And let's hope it'll last beyond 5 years. So thanks to the Arts Council, as Georgie mentioned earlier, and to Nottingham Trent University and to Metronome, and basically to everybody in Nottingham that's been involved with the Poetry Festival or the poetry community. So thanks a lot for that. I was hoping to be in Nottingham at the Metronome live, but as the old saying goes, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So I'm going to do a special show tonight. It's not going to be the show I was going to do at Metronome. It's a show really about coronavirus and basically the last year. So I'm going to do 1,000 poems. Well, actually, I'm going to do 20 poems, but you know, the capacity is for 1,000 poems, and as we know, that's the figure that makes sense. Right. So I'm going to begin the show. Let's have a look. Actually, I started writing this show in March. So some of the poems are back from March, which, you know, I say March, it feels like 30 years ago, doesn't it? I don't know where you can see this, but I've actually got my socks on tonight saying Monday, because to be honest with you, I don't care anymore. No socks telling me what day of the week it is. Actually, on this foot, I've actually got Tuesday. So you'll no doubt know that I've got another pair exactly the same as this. Anyway, I've got, I'm between time zones. My stomach is always at lunchtime, and I'm not sure what decade my ear is from, but this is about something that I wouldn't wear. Things I wouldn't be seen dead in. I'll never wear a onesie. I'll never wear Crocs, tank top, flip-flops, sandal with socks. And you'll never see me wearing dungarees. If you do, kill me, please. A puffer jacket is in that bracket. But a covering from my face is ace and makes the chances greater that later someone won't be wearing a ventilator. So that's the first poem. Very easy for you, that one, wasn't it? I say this is the first poem. Counting the words, Matt Hancock might say that's over 1,000 individual poetry items already delivered. So this next poem is from my book, The Escape Plan. You can see it's got a painting by my son on it, and there's the actual painting behind me. So this is the first poem in the book. I didn't want to let you know how it ended, but this is called The Breath Within the Balloon. And it's coming up to Christmas, and there'll be a lot of people blowing up balloons and stuff. This was inspired by seeing a little kid blowing up a balloon. So it's for anyone who's got kids, or anybody that has been a kid. Called The Breath Within the Balloon. The breath within the balloon will not last. You never get inflated balloons on the Antiques Roadshow. Breath brings with it vulnerability. If never inflated, a balloon may last forever, but such limp reason will never enchant a child with decoration, or gladden the heart with a stretching of possibility, or the fulfillment of promise. Is not a universe of such balloons sadder than a universe where balloons are apt to burst? I hold your breath within my hands. The breath within the balloon will not last, but the giving of breath and the tying of the knot at each new birth is an offering for our choice of worlds. So lockdown, well, I say lockdown, we're in the second lockdown, aren't we? Now we started numbering them. I wrote some poems at the beginning of the first one, which I thought would have passed their tell-by date by now, but sadly not. This is one, it's called Be Individually Wrapped. Stay healthy, be a hermit, to help the old and infirm it, maybe short term, yet to confirm it. Form your own exclusive club, snub the up and don't forget to scrub, that's the nub. On a sabbatical, be emphatically, position yourself somewhat statically. Social contact is easily quittable, stay at home and become inhospitable to any virus that's transmittable. Forget that outing, stick to inning, so all of us will end up winning, that's the logic underpinning. Prefer aversions to excursions, defer all unwanted incursions, procure yourself some small diversions. Lay flat that unwelcome mat, keep your app to your own habitat, Zoom and Snapchat, that's where it's at. There's social media and Wikipedia and parts of the internet that's a little seedier. To feed your brain, why don't you read, yeah? Enjoy self-isolation for the duration, join the nation on a grand staycation, get a separate room in a separate location. Put on the break, take all your days off, fill your cake hole full of stuff you can graze off, being Billy No Mates finally pays off. So, as you see, I like messing around with rhymes, and I like wordplay and stuff like that. This is that's the best way to go in it. That's my wife Angela, and I've written a poem. So this is with a rhyme. A perfect masculine rhyme is when a single syllable rhymes, like love and dove. That, strangely enough, is a masculine rhyme. And if two syllables rhyme, like it's called a feminine rhyme. So that's like salad and ballad, or frolic and bollock. So this is called In Search of the Perfect Feminine. My wife said, nothing rhymes with orange, but before despair could befall her, I corrected Angela, or Ange, as I call her. So the next poem is about this book. Oh, I don't know whether you can see it. I'll go back to about this book here called The Beauty Within Shadow, which I've actually written since, since Georgie mentioned all my books. I must have just written it now because this is number 8. And this is poems during the lockdown. And very cleverly, you'll see, I've done it in black and white, and all the poems are also in black and white, very cunning. There's the backdrop, there we go. So this is the title poem. It's called The Beauty Within Shadow. There is often light in the darkness once your eyes adjust. And when your sight fails, it is said, other senses heighten. Even with your lids tight, the mind can shine like the midday sun. And in the blackest void, who knows what awaits? Maybe another sense rises to help us become ourselves, or returns us to a time when all was in balance, awaiting ignition. So, as a lot of you know, I was born in Nottingham, and that's me there. That way, that's me there. In Bilborough. I was actually born in St Anne's in Nottingham, and my dad used to say it was Snenton because he was trying to be posh. For those of you who know Snenton, you'll realise he wasn't trying to be that posh. But we moved when I was 7. We moved up to Bilborough, and we lived in a council house. And last year, the Nottingham Council had a big do, a celebration of 50 years of council houses, and they asked me to write a poem. So I thought I'd best write something official. So this is called the Treatise on the Social Discourse Concerning Council Housing in the 1960s and 70s, addressed to the child of a private property owner. You'll be glad to hear that the poem is shorter than the title. As a kid, what I remember most is I had a place to call home. A bloke from the council painted our door, and you had to paint your own. It's a picture of my mum. If I can move that way, that's probably better. Yeah, it's a picture of my mum. This is a poem about this photo, and we didn't have many photos when I was a kid. I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, you didn't have an iPhone. In fact, you didn't have a phone. I think the nearest phone was two streets away, and it didn't take pictures, that phone. In fact, you could hardly make a phone call on it, to be honest with you. No, if you were a kid and you had like a phone, a mobile phone, if such things existed then, and you had a camera, you'd probably be Joe 90. So I've written this poem about this picture, and it's called Who Was Mr. Chambers? And I think Nottingham's full of unsung heroes, and Mr. Chambers is one of mine. So this is called Who Was Mr. Chambers? When I was a young boy, he would deliver clothes to our house that we'd buy on the Never Never, as it was called then. He would always say that I was handsome, even though I had a broken front tooth at the time. He was the only one who ever said that, apart from my mum. When I was 11, Mum died, leaving 5 kids, hardship and chaos, and a black hole at the centre of the universe. Mr. Chambers took the sole photo we owned of Mum, and he had it framed. This simple act of kindness saved the image of her from fading or getting lost. That's who Mr. Chambers was. So T.S. Eliot says that immature poets imitate and mature poets steal. So this next poem is called The Wasteland. It's actually called The Wasteland 2. It's a sequel. And it's about an actual bit of wasteland, because when I was at William Sharp School in Nottingham, I used to skive off, obviously during the poetry lessons. But I used to skive off with my mate Nigel Kirkwood, and we'd go to a bit of waste ground, and we'd just sort of hang around, a bit like Last of the Summer Wine, you know, with anoraks and haversacks. So this is a poem of that. It's called The Wasteland 2. By the old sewage pipe, we'd hide in tall grasses and learn what came out of other folks' asses, and this we'd prefer to sitting in classes. I went back to St Anne's, to where I spent my early years, and Seymour Street it was. I don't know if you've ever been to Seymour Street, but there's nothing there now from when I was there. It used to be a cobble street, and they've tarmacked it all over. And where our house was, there's now a Lidl. In fact, exactly where our house is where the fish fingers are. There's no plaque. It's not worth looking. I should have said the toothpaste, shouldn't I? There's no plaque. That would have been funnier. Anyway, because there was nothing there, I went over to King Edward's Park, which was a park over the road, and had a look around there. But all the playground equipment that was there when we were kids, like, I don't know whether you remember the Witch's Hat, a weird sort of torture equipment that they used to have, that we used to go on, or the cobweb roundabout, and you'd go on these. They were very metal, these things, and there were no soft tarmac underneath. You know, if you fell off, your knees were gone. And monkey bars, used to be monkey bars there, and I used to find that strange, because basically monkey bars are scaffold, aren't they? You know, not reminiscent of the scaffold that monkeys swing from in the jungle. So there was nothing there. And then I noticed there was something there that I remembered. This is called Witness. This is a tree that knows me well. I played under its branches as a child. Its weathered trunk may well be heavier, but these longer limbs can still embrace. Its shadow is stretched in the late sun. Though all around has been relabeled progress, it has set itself in this fickle landscape and reached accommodation with the sky. Of course, the sun is the same sun, but it has no sense of loyalty. There is a commitment with the tree. This is an old friend that knew well those we've lost. When I'm gone, it will still know, and it will remember that I spoke of you. So I love coming from Nottingham. Obviously, I don't live in Nottingham now. I sort of followed in the footsteps of Byron, D.H. Lawrence and Alan Sillitoe. And once I'd made some money, I fucked off somewhere warmer. Is the thing. I do identify with them, especially Byron, although I don't sleep with my sister. So I always think W.H. Auden said that a poet's hope is to be like a valley cheese, sort of local but prized everywhere. And being from Nottingham, I always tend to think of my poetry as being like Stilton, in that it stinks. It's hard to swallow, and it's got blue bits in it. This is the next one. It's called All Eyes on the Potato. What I've been doing over lockdown is I've been trying to eat less. I don't know about you. I've been eating quite a bit. I was looking at some clothes on eBay, and Ange came in and she said, she saw that I was looking at Slim Fit. She said, it's not Slim Fit you need, mate, Slim Fast. And she needs to talk. She's ate that much Toblerone in his last 7 months. I'm surprised her poo's not triangular. Anyway, what we've decided to do is we've decided to try and become vegetarian, and we're doing it in bits. So 2/3 of all our meal all our meals now are vegetarian. Like tonight we had peas, potatoes, and meat pie. So if you think about the pastry, that's probably 3/4, isn't it? And I do like potatoes, so I've written a poem for potatoes called All Eyes on the Potato. The simple spud tastes so good, there's none greater than the tater. This tuber is uber. King Edward or Jersey Royal, peeled or washed, free from soil, ready to fry in oil, bake or boil. Whether you call it a pomme de terre or any nom de guerre, to say it will flatter any platter is only fair. I even like potato cakes and patties, always welcome on my welcome matties, the aristocrat, that is, tatties. Dauphinoise or Hasselback, versatility in a sack, spuds never lack, the power pack snack in the veggie sack. Pommes frites I love to bits, skins and crisps have got their glitz, every jacket's in the upper bracket. I've never yet met a croquette that I regret. Though little can eclipse chips, French fries don't take top prize. Crinkle cut nor straight rate as potentate of the plate, though they do just edge the potato wedge. The ash browns doesn't take the crown, mash doesn't take the sash. I like roasties, the mosties. So I've done a few of these Zoom events. I don't know whether you've been to any of the others. You can get some of them on Facebook. If you go to Flapjack, I think they've got a few up. And sometimes you've got like lots of squares, which is quite weird. And of course, everybody's muted, so you've got all these squares with sort of people. So it's a bit like the old celebrity squares, but without the laughs or the celebrities. So very much like celebrity squares as I remember it. One of the things I've been doing to take my mind off things is to go in the garden. This is called In the Shade, Birds are Whistling Up Their Dinner. Insects are having a field day. Flies become familiar, no respecters of social distancing. A ladybird lands on my lapel like a brooch. Bumblebees, drunk on oxygen, zigzag over bluebells, as though they know something even smaller than them now rules the earth. Soon as lockdown began, I got toothache and I lived with it for quite a while. And then when there was that little break, I went to the dentist. It was quite weird because he got so much PPE on. He got like a mask and he got a visor, but the mask had got a tube coming out of it round to the back to oxygen, and he got like a big suit on, like one of those diving suits that you have in the 1930s with big gloves and everything. And I thought to myself, how deep is this filling? So I was wondering about all the challenges that people have other than COVID, and I want you to have a think about this chap here. I'll sit this side a little bit so you can get a good look at him. This is called Slow Song of the Baby Sloth. If you think you've got it bad, imagine this is you. I will lick my mother's lips to learn what to eat. I will digest my food at the slowest rate. I'm usually more leaf than meat, as much as 2/3 of my body weight. I will watch the world upside down. My coat will be adorned in algae. I have poor sight and hear little sound. My defence, to be part of the greenery. I am helpless on the ground, but I can swim 40 minutes underwater. I can hold my breath. I'm the only animal named after a sin. I can remain hanging, even after death. We sloths nourish moths that exist solely on us, biting and blood-sucking flies, lice and ticks and mites and bugs. When we do move, it's mostly at night. For 5 months, I will stay with my mother. I will die if I fall from this canopy. I can't expect help from another, not even a parent will heed my plea. I will urinate and defecate about every 7 days. I'll go to the same spot each time, although digging a hole in the earth, then covering it away. I'm vulnerable to predators whilst doing so. By burying my excreta near the trunk of my tree, I'll nourish this Ceracopia, and it'll in turn nourish me. Moths which live in my fur will leave and lay their eggs in my feces. Larvae will hatch, and on those feces they'll feed. When mature, they'll fly up, and on my flesh proceed. For most of my life, I'll live motionless in fear. This way I may live past my 20th year. So I've not been going out much. I think the bins have been going out more than I have. So I live in Brighton, so I do get a look at the sea. There's my neighbour. We have those wind turbines just off the coast, which is good, and it's very ecological because we're nice and green in Brighton, and they're very efficient, those, because they run on people gasping at the house prices. It's a love poem. It's called During Lockdown, There Are Two Types of People, Avoid Them Both. Angela is worried about coronavirus. She wants to do her bit. She says she's prepared to self-isolate together with Brad Pitt. This is the first book that I ever had. I say book, it's a pamphlet. It's got about 19 poems in it. And it was published in Nottingham when I was part of a writers group at the Nottingham Central Library. And there's a poem in this, which I'm going to read tonight, which has made it 30 odd years later to this one. Not too bad when I started. Well, you be the judge anyway. So it's a love poem. It's called A Gift. At 7 o'clock this morning, I bring you a mountain. I tap gently on your window and you wake, half covered in sleep. What's that, you ask? It's a mountain, I grin. I've carried it all night. I couldn't sleep, so I've brought it here to show you. What do I want with a mountain in my garden at 7 o'clock in the morning, you asked? Not used to being woken at 7 with a mountain in your garden. I try to joke now, feeling a little embarrassed. It's for you, a gift. You say you don't want a mountain. You're too tired to understand. And I struggle to explain. It's not the mountain that I brought you. It's the fact that I could bring it to you. I strain to pick it up again. I'm wondering what I'm going to do with it now. I feel such a fool walking home with a mountain. Elizabeth Barrett Browning did a poem called How Do I Love Thee, Let Me Count the Ways, and I've done a 2020 update. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. None, nil, nada, on no account, no ways. Not a touch, a tad, a trace, not a dab, a dram, a dash. I hate your stupid lying face. It's a face I'd like to smash. Nothing doing, not a smidgen, hating you's my new religion. Not a spot, a speck, a shred. I'll laugh a lot if you were dead. No small change, no small beer. You need no ready reckoner here. A whole lot of not a jot is the love for you I've got. To hit the spot, I hope you rot. Not a bean, not in the least, less than the number of the beast. No need for calculators. No need to draw a graph. No need to catch you later. You can do the math. Not a crumb, the total sum, not a soup's on, it's all gone. Work this out in calculus, there's one of me and none of us. It all adds up to less than naught, value of a negative sort. Zero is not quite the right vicinity. My love for you is minus infinity. This next one's a love poem to my son, Johnny, who's 22 now. He's autistic. And he loves painting, as you can see behind, and does a lot of my covers. Every so often I do a program for BBC Radio 4. They call it an occasional series for people who like an occasional laugh. And so the next one is going to be in February, and it's going to be about communication. And my son, because he's severely autistic, sometimes finds it difficult to communicate, and he'll often say words that mean something to him but won't necessarily mean something to anybody else. I think strangely enough he prefers a lot of the aspects of lockdown. It's quieter, there's less cars, less people, and we do a lot of routine, so I think he likes that. What he misses is swimming, and he's a very good swimmer. When he was about 2 years old, I didn't think he'd be able to swim, but he's 6'4" now, and he's given the chance, he's a great swimmer. So this is a poem about being in the pool. It's called Poolside, and it's also about this communicating with random words. Cliffy, Stuart Corfe, 85 Carolines. These are all things Johnny calls out when he can't contain his joy. This morning, there is nothing between me and the sunlight born 8 minutes ago. A single jet makes a dash across the naked sky. One feathered soloist is giving it Percy Edwards. My son counts the liquid lengths to qualify for an ice lolly. On his back, he's as noisy as a Mississippi steamboat. He grunts like a tennis player on each stroke. Frozen pineapple is gold medal enough. My skin tone moves towards these orange shorts. Cliffy, Stuart Corfe, 85 Carolines. So I'm getting older now, as we all are. It'd be weird if I weren't, wouldn't it? That would be weird. I'm at that stage where I sit down to have a wee these days. I'm quite prepared to admit this, or going hands-free, I call it. Sometimes you can double task. You can actually have a wee and tie the laces of your trainers. So it's quite nice, that double tasking. I do like double tasking. Don't always do it on purpose, which can be a problem in JD Sports. So this is about aging. It's called Endgame. Demoting a passion to an hobby. The parameters of my dreams, it seems, are simply not viable. I find I'm resigned to amateur status with wish fulfillment unreliable. Now in my 60s, I finally bow to reason. I can certainly rule out playing for England at the end of next season. My sister, Linda, says she's now at the age where she can recite all the words to Bohemian Rhapsody, but she can't remember why she went in the kitchen. They do say people in a coma sometimes wake up just before they die. And it's quite interesting, I thought. So I've written this poem. It's called Lightning Before Death, which is what they call the phenomena, lightning before death. The music is not made in the radio. It comes from elsewhere. The mind is not seen on an X-ray. Who are we to say there's no spirit? Let me whisper a final farewell, remind you of who I once was. More than biology and chemistry, more than mere physics, someone individual, someone unique. If I linger in your thoughts, it's this part of me that stays. It was always the part that was me, connecting with the part that is you. So I go on Facebook and Twitter these days. It'd be lovely if you could join me. Daft to say if you could like me. That sounds a bit daft, doesn't it? Oh, could you like me? But follow me, and I'll follow you back, and we can have a laugh, basically. So I do Instagram as well. So Instagram, Twitter, and so I put a poem up on Facebook called "Less Poetic Hooligan, More Valdunican," and the best line in it was more of a queasy listen, more of an easy listen, less of a queasy frisson. So it was like more of this and less of that. And I got some great replies back. Gina Stewart said, less Brian Ferry, more Bristol Cream Sherry. Will Blake said, less Brian Ferry, more Brittany Ferries. And I thought, well, these are better than mine. I've got to up my game. So I wrote a new poem called Saga Louts, less Ip, more Ip replacement. Less Michael Stipe, more Slippers and Pipe. Less Ramones, more Aching Bones. Less Nevada, more Brandsworth Sultana. Less Linkin Park, more Blinking in the Dark. Less AC/DC, more Feeling Queasy. Less Sex Pistols, more Ealing Crystals. Less Iggy Pop, more Lager Top. Less Jimi Hendrix, more Twin Tub Bendix. Quite pleased with that line. Less Motorhead, more sourdough bread. less white snake, more organic wheat flake, less Axl Rose, more Waitrose, less Pink Floyd, more easily annoyed, less Van Halen, more senses failing, less Foo Fighters, more early nighters, less Kings of Leon, more pants with We on, less Eric Clapton, more pants with, well, we don't need to go into that. So I put that on, and people then sent in their ones as well, and I got some great ones back. Less Metallica, more sciatica. Less Let's Get It On, more Oh Me Back's Gone. Less Clint Boone, more Mills and Boone. And my favourite, less Iron Maiden, more Cream Teas Laid On. So I say, do join me. I know Lem got everybody to take his picture and put it up on Twitter, but he's more handsome than I am, so I'm not necessarily going to ask you to do that. My brother, when he died, had a bench. We've scattered his ashes locally on Seaford, which is fairly near, and he's got a bench there. So I'm hoping when I die that they'll scatter my ashes next to Dave's, and I'll have a little plaque, on the same bench. And what I'd like is for them to put a poem rather than anything naff. So this is the poem that I'd like on my plaque. It's called "Hold Me with Certainty in This Heavenly Chaos. Lead me by the hand to where pirates sleep, where air has crossed the sea to find me, where my skin shines and my lungs draw deep, and leave all fear and doubt behind me." So this year's been weird, hasn't it? That we've had the pandemic, and we've had you've got global warming going on. The other thing that really marks out the year has been intolerance, and I think the murder of George Floyd in the US by policemen. I'm saying using policemen in the inverted brackets, was a big shock to me. I was hoping that by now racism would have gone. My granddad came over from Ireland when he was a kid, and at the time it would say, "No blacks, no dogs, no Irish." I was very proud that I'm part of a generation that said they're going to do no more racist jokes, they're going to do no more homophobic jokes, they're going to do no more sexist jokes. And I was hoping with the younger generations as they come up that we become more tolerant. I was listening to BBC Radio 4 and they were talking about immigration in this country. I mean, we're all a nation of immigrants because everybody essentially comes from Africa via the Middle East. So I wanted to write something that I wanted the Prime Minister to say, I wanted the BBC to say, I wanted me to say, I wanted everybody to say, to somebody that felt disengaged and disenfranchised in this country. And something that if you were made to feel other, this is called, this is not an house of war. Everything I want for my children, I want for your children. Everything I wish for me, I wish for you. This is not an house of fear. This is an house of life. How can I not see myself in you? If you look, how can you not see yourself in me? You are respected as much as I am. You are a worth in equal measure. You are family. You are us. This is not an house of intolerance. This is an house of acceptance. We are the house, you and I. This is where you belong. This is where we belong. This is your home. This is our home. So I've got another one of these Zoom things. on the 30th of November. It's free and it's for Flapjack. So if you go on Twitter or Facebook, you'll be able to have a look at that. I should be doing different poems. I should be doing just love poems for that one. I've also got one with, I'm supporting John Cooper Clarke for Salford Food Bank charity, and that's on the 12th of December. So if you get a chance, have a look at that. I want to reiterate what Georgie was saying about donations. It'd be great if we could get all the money for the next year's festival from the sponsors and from the Arts Council. That may not be the case. So if people get involved and either donate or just get involved in some way, that would be lovely. I've donated my fee tonight for this gig, which stretches to 90, or maybe £1. No, it's more than that. But I believe in this festival, and I think we've had some brilliant acts, well, brilliant poets, I should say, on during the festival, and I think year after year it's going to get better. So I hope you'll get involved. One of the things during this coronavirus pandemic is that if we don't, this is quite history that we're living through, if we don't chronicle it, then all we've got is the government's account. So I think we need a non-fiction version. This is my first attempt. It's called Catchy Verse. Coronavirus, trying to expire us. You're not a bug, I find desirous. I thought I could probably do better than that. This is a poem I wrote at the beginning of the first lockdown. When I say the beginning, about a third of the way through. It's called Homeschooling. It's my last one tonight. Thank you everybody for listening and for staying. There is a Q&A afterwards, and I will be very honest in my answers. If you want to ask me a question, I'm happy to talk about anything. This is called Homeschooling. Again, when I wake, for a moment, all is well. Then I remember. I reduce ambition and expectation, find the lowest gear, draw out morning routines. My house has never been so clean. It's hard to remember which day it is. They're losing names and becoming numbers. Always dressed down Friday in a month of Sundays. We exist in unfashionable slippers. We live on screens of all sizes. Stir crazy. I drink tea on draft. Wash my hands as though my life depended on it. Exercise once a day, being once a day more than I'm used to. Wrap myself against nature. Each week I chance the supermarket, stand in the dotted line, over a breath away, the length of an hospital bed. Negotiate the aisles, turn my back to the space invaders. I'm resorting to DIY, sorting corners to make my own bigger, spraying the tops of taps again, keys, doorknobs, again and again. Resisting the itch on my face, hands like deadly weapons, taking 5 days to hoover the house, laying my clothes fallow to avoid the wash, using elbows and feet to open doors and close doors, leaving packages and letters in quarantine, experimenting with available ingredients, toasting the last of the bread, seeing how many cups I can get from a tea bag, the least amount of toilet paper. I watch the news too long, then try to find a little escape to improve my dreams. I'm weary of every cough or sneeze, every ache, careful not to stay up late in case it lowers resistance. I treasure, I appreciate, I empathize till it hurts. I close my eyes again when I awake. For a moment, all is well. Then I remember.
Together, your hashtags together for Henry Normal, everyone. Honestly, Henry, You make me laugh, and in the next moment, my heart's breaking. It's like this magical emotional roller coaster. I wrote down loads of quotes, wrap myself against nature. It's not the mountain that I've brought you, it's the fact that I can give it to you. Sunlight born 8 minutes ago. And of course, if we don't chronicle this, we've only got the government's account. Rightly so.
The good thing about laughing and crying, Georgie, is that you know you're alive.
Yes, very true. I should print that on a t-shirt. Well, listen, Henry, I don't need to tell you that you're popular, because you can see that already there are 220 people in this chat. And there have been, oh yes, all here for you. And there have been lots and lots of questions sent through. So I'm going to do my best to get through all of them for you. Okay. And we are going to start with a nice one from Kate Johnson, who asks, don't you ever stop working?
Yes, I do. What I do is me and my wife Angela, we have a routine. So because we're all the time with Johnny, and we've been that way. We've not seen anybody other than ourselves really for the last 7 months. So Angela works with Johnny in the morning, does lots of artwork and things, and then I work with him in the afternoon. So basically all afternoon I enjoy myself. I say work, I enjoy myself with my lad. We have a quiz, which I'd recommend to anybody that's got kids, because it's a way of talking about anything. So you just write it as a quiz. We do it on a blackboard, and you know, we can talk about anything. So today, let's have a look. I've got my blackboard over there. We're talking about the Amazon. We're talking about Ebenezer Scrooge. We're talking about just lots of things that you wouldn't normally just sit down and talk about. You can have a little chat with your kids about.
That is incredible. I need one of those in my house. Right, next one. We've got Michelle Greet asking, I always feel like energy makes more energy. Do you feel like you have to work at inspiration, or do you have a secret method for it?
Well, I think most of the poems I write, it was quite good actually, because I listened to the discussion that was they had yesterday in defence of poetry, which I thought as a title is quite strange, because we shouldn't be defending poetry. I don't think it needs defend. You wouldn't defend music, would you? You wouldn't go, oh no, we can't have music. And poetry is so individual. I think if you think about music, you know, there's jazz and rock and indie and classical, and so many different types. And there's so many different types of poetry that it's not one thing. And for me, the great thing is that it's a communication, and what you're communicating is perception. And so what I like to do is I like to explore things. So as I say, at the moment, I'm looking at the old thing of communication. The word communication is from to share. Yes. So when we communicate, we share. And I love the fact that what we're doing really is sharing something of ourselves, and I think that's a great thing to do, and you know, makes the world better. If we'd have stayed as apes or cavemen, we might have been happier, but maybe our lives wouldn't have been as rich. One of the things that I've learned about communication is when we were in small groups as apes, we would pick fleas off each other and eat them, so that you know, it's like a mark of respect of saying, I'm grooming you, you're grooming me. We're sort of you know, like each other, respect each other. When the numbers get bigger, you know, we've got 7 billion people, and you can't pick the fleas off that many people. You need some sort of system to be able to relate to other people, and they reckon that's why language grew up. And so I think very often what we're doing with communicating is getting back to that, showing respect and finding a way of communicating with each other on a personal basis. And I think poetry is very good for that.
Language instead of flea picking. I love it.
That's right. Although if you do see any fleas on me, Georgie, feel free to fleece away.
Don't worry, I've got your back. Between you and me, we'll be all right. Right, next question. We've got a bit of name dropping going on here. Kieran K has asked, how did you first meet Steve Coogan and thoughts on Chris Hughton?
And what? What's the last bit?
And your thoughts on Chris Hughton? No idea.
Who is he?
I don't know. I thought you'd know.
Well, I might do. I very often I forget my own name. I can tell you about Steve Coogan. So I met Steve when he was 19, and I knew even then he was going to be a superstar because he was brilliant at 19. He could do anybody's voice. So if he was with you for 2 minutes, he could do your voice. He wouldn't do the face and the expressions or anything, but he would do the voice, and it would be absolutely spot on. I don't know whether you've ever seen a program called Saxondale. He plays a Nottingham bloke in Saxondale, and basically he nicked a bit of my voice for that to play that. But he is a genius. In a way, he can't help it. That he's got this gift, but he's expanded beyond mimicry and his acting and everything. We become good friends, and obviously made quite a few television programs and films together. But he's essentially the same lad as he was when he was 19.
Amazing. Here's a big question for you. What makes a great poet? Asks Peter Saunders.
Well, do you know, I'd love to know. I don't consider myself a great poet. I am very passionate about poetry, and I'm very passionate to explore, but I've no formal training or anything like that. I could never give a workshop on poetry, to be honest with you, because I actually go, and you'll know, I've been to the Arvin Foundation and had poetry workshops, even though I've got radio series and stuff like that, because I want to learn still. I don't think, I'm necessarily an expert on anything. I'm an expert on my wife and my son. That's about it. But I do think it's a thing to be passionate about, and just keep learning. It's interesting on that discussion yesterday that they were talking about teaching poetry, and I thought to myself, I wonder if teaching is the right word. It's that's Angie telling me who Chris Newton is. Sneaking in, nobody saw it. Yeah, I wonder if teaching's the right word. I wonder if it should be exploring. I wonder if we should help kids to explore poetry rather than teaching. So the new forest manager, they come and go very quickly, don't they? So I don't keep track of them. I've given up on football a bit, to be honest with you. I can't be doing with this fake crowd sounds. It's weird. I love the passion of football. Football to me is dancing for lads, and I like the soap opera of it all. Because when I used to watch it with my dad and my brother Dave, you could talk about anything. You'd watch football and you'd sit side by side, because blokes don't like to look at each other when they're talking. So we'd sit side by side, and you could talk about loyalty. You could talk about respect. You could talk about lots of big issues. But you're talking about football. So I love football for that. And when I was 14, I used to go with Nigel Kirkwood and his brother Terry. I used to go to the Forest Ground, and I'd be the first one in. I'd go at 1:30 for a 3 o'clock kickoff. And I got some Tipp-Ex, and I made my own jacket. I'd write the names of all the players that were then. Because you didn't have all the merchandising stuff then, so I made my own. Jim Barron was the goalkeeper in those days, and there was lots of players that people have forgotten. But I do love the passion of football. But as I say, I find this sort of fake football a bit weird.
Mm. You did better than me on that one, Henry. I know nothing about football.
Yeah, but I bet you've got your soap opera going on. What do you watch?
Oh, right now, what have I just finished binging? Oh, so much. I watch everything on TV. Oh, the new season of The Crown has been fantastic. I have to tell you that.
Royalty is a soap opera, isn't it? Trump, let's face it, is a soap opera. He's stretching it out, isn't he?
Too right. Someone needs to give him the boot.
Yes, he's said some weird things. The worst thing he said, I thought recently, was he said this coronavirus, there's people dying that have never died before.
Yeah.
How did he get to be prime minister, president?
I don't know. It's 20. I have no idea. I'm like you. I lose track. I stop looking. It's like a car crash. Right. Speaking of car crashes and subjectivity, poetry is so subjective. Are there any actual no-nos?
Probably not. Probably not. It's all about. It's like with the rest of life, isn't it? I mean, everything's subjective. The last BBC Radio 4 show I did was about the universe, and the more I read into it, the more we don't know any facts. We're guessing at all the facts. Everything about existence we're guessing about. So we're guessing about poetry. I don't think there's any no-nos. I wouldn't do a limerick at a funeral. But yeah, maybe there's one you could do. But you know, things have their place. Yeah. But no, I'm not sure. I like to experiment with everything. If anybody ever reads any of my books, you'll see that I do a, you know, I try to keep it different all the way through. So so you don't want something to become predictable, do you? So I would say try it and then see how it feels.
Absolutely.
Apart from incest.
That's the second time that's come up tonight. Oh dear. Right. Emma wants to know if you have any suggestions, Henry, on how to overcome writer's block.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I do, and I said this to Leanne Moden recently on Twitter. I basically go and sit somewhere that I haven't sat before. I find a little space that I haven't sat before, and I'll start describing it to myself. So I write down. You don't necessarily have to use everything that you write down, but I'd start describing it, and then what I find is, as I'm describing it, you can sit in the same place in different moods and you will pick out different details. What you're really doing is describing your inner landscape. So I do that, and then I look at the descriptions that I've written down and I see whether there's something lurking in my subconscious that I'm wanting to communicate. So I find that a very good way. But you've got to go somewhere that you're not familiar with, because it's all about surprising yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like looking to external sources as well, reading everything you can, watching everything you can, it kind of helps to get the juices flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what do you do if you got a blank page? What do you do?
It depends if it's for a commission or for me. So if it's for a commission, I write down all of the themes that they want me to touch on and then start brainstorming around the themes, and maybe I spend a day kind of mulling over it. And then I read other people's poetry to kind of shift my brain from normal everyday writing that's just for, you know, passing on information, to writing for kind of beauty and to pass on emotion rather than just information. So for me, it's like a shift of gear in the brain, and sometimes it's impossible to do that without reading something else, I think.
I don't really do commissions. I did the one for the council because you know, I appreciated having a council house, but I don't normally do them. What I tend to do is the serious poems are usually me explaining something to myself. It's usually something that I'm trying to think about, and I want to try and, so by putting it on a piece of paper, I can see it outside myself. So it's almost like therapy in a way. Some of the comic poems I do for fun, just for fun. And one of the tricks I do, you take that potato poem that I read, is I'll think of a subject like potatoes, and then I'll write down all the words. You go to synonyms. Write down all the words to do with potatoes, and then try and make the daftest rhyme that I can with all the words, and get me a rhyming dictionary up, and basically then do like a list, and try to I say just make it fun. And I've probably got about a dozen poems of a similar nature where it's just me escaping from the world and having a bit of fun. You know, some people do Sudoku, don't they? And some people do crosswords, and some people do sort of video games. And I like to write daft poems.
And thank God you do. We're very grateful for them, Henry. Really. We have a nice question here from Sheila Hubbard asking, what is that picture behind you?
That picture that I'll show you. Yeah, let's have a look.
I hoped you might.
Let's have a see. Let's see if we can see it properly. So that is one of my son's paintings. I'm hoping this will stay up and I can show you around my house. It's another one of Johnny's paintings there.
Wow.
We've got so many that we've run out of wall space. So we've just actually put them, there's another one, around the house. There's some more. That's one from the front of the latest book. I'll show you his studio. I'm hoping we'll still be on. That's an exhibition he had with some of his paintings, and this is my kitchen. And this is we've got him a studio right next to the kitchen, so we can keep an eye on him whilst we're. So this is a poem he did, a painting he did today. It's very black. It's not dry yet. It's very black. Slightly worried about his mood today with that, to be honest with you. There's another one he did the other day on canvas. So this is his little studio. He even paints on the walls. You can see there some painting on the wall, which is nice. And this is sort of his den where he can sort of enjoy himself. So whilst I'm doing poems, he'll paint away. But I love his paintings. He did have an exhibition. It was quite nice. He had an exhibition at the Phoenix Gallery in Brighton, and he had more people come to see his exhibition than any exhibition they'd ever had. Wow. And I was very proud of that. I mean, I'm very proud of him anyway. He's got great courage and great attributes and lots of lovely things. But the fact that he's applied himself to painting is a lovely thing, because it can't be difficult. Can't be easy being severely autistic, but he handles it well.
Well, they're beautiful paintings. When you just took me in the den, then I was thinking he's got a real Basquiat thing about him.
Yes,
really beautiful.
He hasn't got the burden of a formal training, and his style is his style. We sometimes show him other paintings like Picasso and stuff like that, and he'll do a version of it. But I could show you them two next to each other, and you'd hardly see that they're the same. He has his own thing going on. I love that. He sometimes surprises me with his choice of colours. So he did a swimming pool recently where he painted it black. Now, I've not got the imagination to paint a swimming pool black. To me, a swimming pool is blue or possibly green. But the fact that he painted black is like, you were talking about experimenting with poetry. That's imagination. That's not just mimicking life. And I remember watching him. He was doing we got a big dark blue sky, and he got a pink Posca pen, which is like a pen with painting, and started doing pink stars. And I thought, wow, that's a bit weird. But when you see it, it's brilliant. But I would never think of doing pink stars on a blue sky.
You make a perfect duo.
They do say that autism is not a faulty program system. It's a different program.
It's amazing, Henry. So we have even more questions. Samira is asking, Is poetry a skill? Can you learn it, or are you born with this talent?
You're certainly not born with it, that's for sure. We didn't have many books in the house. My mum died when I was 11, and we were very poor, 5 kids. We didn't have any books. The first poetry book I read outside of school was Spike Milligan. And I read Small Dreams of a Scorpion, which I thought was going to be a comedy book, but it was a serious poetry book. And because he made me laugh so much, Spike Milligan, reading this book, it made me cry. And it was from then that I wanted to be a poet and wanted to try and combine comedy and poetry. So I certainly wasn't born with it. It's a skill. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. As I say, it's a means of communication. So it can be an hobby. It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be lots of things to lots of people. I like all the time. If you've watched any of my stuff or read any of my books, you'll find I like to keep experimenting all the time and keep doing different things. If I had to come on and just do the same like 10 poems every time, I'd be like a tribute act to myself. Do you know what I mean? Like you get with say Duran Duran or something touring these days, and that would be unbearable, wouldn't it? So for me, it's always about exploring. So I'd say, as with anything you explore, you start from a place and then you end at a place, and it doesn't matter how people categorize it. It's your journey.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Henry. That was amazing. And I can't believe we got a tour of the house. I feel incredibly lucky. So thank you.
We didn't get the bedrooms.
No, you kept the best till last. So I just want to let people know how the book signing works with you, because we've had a couple of questions pop up about it throughout the festival. Yeah. So we are going to put a link in the chat, which hopefully you should see magically any moment, where people can go and buy tickets. And what happens is you join a virtual queue to have a little one-on-one with Henry, and you can ask him to sign your name and a message if you like, and then he will pop that in the book of your choice. So you get to ask Henry which one you would like signing. So if you would like to sign up, I think the link is in the chat. Yes, it is. I can just about see it.
Georgie, I'm going to show you all the different books that you can get.
Look at that.
Do you know, I can't be asked whether you buy a book or not, to be honest with you. I would love you to buy them because I love the poems, but I don't need the money. I know that's an awful thing to say, but you know, that's truthful. I don't need the money. I'd much, if I could, I'd give them away, but you can't get people to print them for you if you give them away. If you live in Nottingham, you can get to 5 Leaves. They've got the books. If you don't buy them tonight, you can get to Flapjack Press, who prints them all and does a brilliant job at printing them. Hey, buy them a friend or an enemy for Christmas. You never know. You could make a friend an enemy, or an enemy a friend.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Henry. It's been a pleasure. And let me just quickly say that poetry does not end here. We have the poetry hunt still on the Nottingham Poetry Festival website. You can look on there to find the map and find the treasure. And there's lots of prizes up for grabs should you succeed. There's even an NTU creative short course worth £475 up for grabs. So get on there. And also, hopefully, life will be a little bit more normal as of July the 2nd next year, and you'll be able to come and see Lem Sisse here at Metronome. So, Henry, maybe I'll get to see you there in real life in the audience. Fingers crossed.
Definitely. Because I don't know whether you remember the first year of the Poetry Festival in Nottingham, Lem and I did a gig together. Which was a gorgeous thing to do, and I hadn't seen him for a few years, so it was lovely to get back in touch. And you know, it is really as building friendships. So thank you. I mean, you've become a friend over the course of these last 5 years, which is great. And thank every one of the team for sorting this out. And I hope you've enjoyed the festival. I know I have.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everyone. Hashtags together for Henry. We'll see you soon.